Morning. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Love 500 and welcome back to the latest project. So we've just done the walk around. This will be on the next video. Let's see what we've done so far. Okay, so loving the hat. That was a question. Loving the hat? Loving the unshaven face? Scruffy sod. Anyway, yes, welcome back. We have the new project, which at the moment is nameless. I don't have a name for it. I'm hoping that I think of a name for it before I upload the first video, which I will be doing later on today. So yeah, we haven't done an awful lot. As I say, all I've done at the moment is got it up on axle stands, taken the front wheels off and had a little look underneath and see what's needed, and then I've ordered that stuff. So let's have a quick look and see what we got. Right, so we're down the obvious end first. So I'm looking at this front panel. I think I mentioned this before. There's no marks on the front panel particularly. There's a tiny little mark there, but let me see if I can put the torch down. Hang on. Tiny little mark just there, but that's literally nothing. There doesn't seem to be any deformities to the front panel. There's a very, very slight dent in it there, where I think this has taken the brunt of the damage and has bent the bracket. And I don't think the front panel has actually taken a hit. This plug that I thought earlier on was the what did I say it was? The fog lights. I think that's actually the ABS sensors, the other end of the ABS. So that's come out of there, you see. That's the ABS sensor that comes from there, runs up underneath, comes out here, which has obviously been crushed by the wing, and that's where it plugs in. So it's just popped out. So that bit looks as if it's intact still, I think. So if not, I'll get another plug or something and solder it on, or whatever. So I'm still hopeful that as I mentioned before, that I don't actually need to change that front panel. All we might need to do is straighten out those top bits. But the only other bit that I was not concerned about, but this is where I thought the damage was going to be, because it said run but didn't mention drive. But there is no damage down here whatsoever. It steers properly, it runs properly, it rolls properly, I should say. It drives okay. On this side, there's nothing. These are in a bit of a state, so I'm going to get a wire brush on those, and I may even give them a paint, but they are quite badly rusted, those. I suppose it is a 10-year-old car. There's no lip to speak of on there. The pads are all good. I've already checked the pads, they're all good. This is damaged. I've got one of these, so I'll put a new one of those on. But yeah, there's no suspension damage whatsoever this side. If we go to the other side, it's a different story. But this is still very strange. So on this side, we couldn't show you before because the wheels are wrong. We're up on axle stands both sides. Got a load of this. Completely snapped. Completely snapped. But why? I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is that there was a shock that side. You know, when it hit that side, it's pushed the wheel, pushed the whole car presumably, because it was sort of on the side, and the shock has just snapped that. Either that or it's hit something underneath. But there was no other damage whatsoever under here. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It when the wheel's in a straight line, it runs fine. It goes along fine. There's no noises, there's no nothing. But obviously you can't steer it. The bushes all look good as far as I can see on the wishbone. That's certainly okay. The end of the drive shaft. The hub is all okay, a bit stiff, but it's quite well rusted. It just needs a good clean. And again, this caliper is really rusty as well. Again, I think it's only surface rust, so I will try and clean that off a bit, maybe even paint. Pads this side are okay as well. plenty of meat on those, so I won't be changing those. I won't be changing the disc. There's no lip. There's a tiny lip on there, but I don't think there's any need to change any of it. Obviously, if I change these, I've got to change the pads as well, and they're not that old. I think the MOT probably, it had a full service in 2019, and it's only done I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what the mileage is, but it's done very, very little miles since. So yeah, there's no other damage here as far as I can make out other than that. Now, as I didn't realise when on one of the previous cars where we had this damage, I can't remember which one it was now, that you all told me, of course, that this bit can be replaced. I didn't realise that. So I've ordered, now I know it's called the inner track rod and the outer track rod. So I've ordered, rather than get an inner and put it on here and then obviously try and get that bit out, I've ordered the inner and the outer. Sorry, the inner and the outer. I've ordered both. So they will probably come next week. But so it is, you know, there's a little bit on the surface rust side, but nothing dramatic. But these, I'm not gonna. There's no point in forking out for new ones. They work all right. They don't look fantastic. But if I get a wire brush on those and clean them up, hopefully that will improve the look of those. As I say, it's silly not replacing this, because I probably wouldn't be able to get that out anyway. So I've ordered this bit, that bit, the rubber gaiter, and obviously it comes with new bolts as well. That was like 29 quid. Bargain. So that, yeah, as I say, that will come next week. So as far as that's concerned, that's it. So once I've got that on, I have no idea how to do it. Obviously you've got to do it in here somehow. I'm not quite sure how you go about it, but we'll figure it out. I'll look it up. Yeah, I don't know how that, I haven't got to take the thing out as far as I know. I think I'll take the rubber, maybe cut the rubber gaiter off, and I know you've got a bolt, you've got it screws in, and you can get a spanner on it somehow. I'm not quite sure how you would get a spanner in there, so I may have to, I'm going to look up how to do it anyway. I'll look in the Haynes manual. I'll also look online as well and see how to do it. So I'm not going to get Connor to come in and do it. I'm going to do it myself. Obviously I don't want to spend money unnecessarily getting Connor to do stuff. As you know, I get him to do the cam belt, but I'm trying to do as much as I can now. Cam belt's a step too far for me, as you know, but we may come to some point in the future where we do it ourselves, but also I do it myself. But yeah, it's all good under it. There's nothing wrong with a leg or anything like that. Once it's, as I say, once it's running straight, it runs straight. So that's it. So apart from that, it's dirty, very, very dirty. Getting old, climbing underneath cars. Let's just turn that off, torch off. So yeah, on closer inspection of this windscreen, as you can see, what's happened is the bonnet has hit the side. So I don't know if that's been, that wouldn't surprise me if that was done at Copart where they've lifted the bonnet to take photographs. I wouldn't be at all surprised. So the corner of the bonnet has hit that, and then the cracks have gradually gone along. Yeah. So at the moment, now these wheels were like job and a half to get off. They were like almost welded on. As you can see, got my hammer there. Or my big adjustable wrench, I should say. And I whacked the hell out of them on the tyres to get the wheels off. It was a real, and the wheel nuts were done up the tightest I've ever known. I had to use a breaker bar on it. They were ridiculously tight. But these wheels all the way around have got winter tyres on. Now, you know, they're going to stay on. I'm not putting summer tyres on. If the owner wants to put, the next owner wants to put summer tyres on, then they can. But I don't really get it, to be honest. It's not like it's a sports car. I understand sometimes when people have steel wheels, which are obviously cheap, they have two sets of wheels. They'll have a set of wheels with winters on and a set of wheels with either summer or all weather ones. Yeah, I think that's a bit over the top, to be honest. So I've never had a car with winter tyres on before. Obviously we're coming into spring within the next few weeks, so I mean, it is officially, meteorologically, I said that without even having a drink, meteorologically it's spring now. So you'd never think so because it's bloody cold. So yeah, under the bonnet, I think we've already shown you under the bonnet. I can't get this open with one-handed. Let me go open it, I'll come back. So yeah, as I showed you earlier on, it's dirty. The oil, I've checked the oil. It looks like brand new oil in there. Again, it hasn't done very many miles since it was since it had its oil change. Coolant seems topped up and the right colour, nice and clean. I haven't gone mad. Obviously it needs a good clean in here, but yeah, I'm sort of optimistic about this front panel, because it'll be a right result if I don't have to change that. Not cost wise, it's just better if you don't have to change it. So I'm not going to actually physically do anything to it today. All I've come out here really to do was just to show you now it's up on wheels, and to give it a wash, give it a jet wash. It's been standing around for a while. It's filthy dirty. It's got green growing, you know, in various places. So I'm just going to give it a good jet wash, go over it with a bucket and sponge. Not going to go mad with it, obviously. Only just got it a few hours ago. And I'll come out probably tomorrow. And we'll start taking it apart. So just quickly going through what we've got to do. We've got to take the bumper off. We've got to take the wing off. We've got to take the arch liner off. New windscreen, obviously. The bonnet's got to come off. I'm going to try and bend those back before I even take it off. I'm going to try and bend these back as much as I can. If not, if I have to get new ones, I have to get new ones. Obviously the scuttle panel will need to come off if I'm going to do that. I'm not going to order any. I have had some, but I sold them. As you know, I know some of you berate me for selling bits that I might possibly use, but as I mentioned earlier, I've never, well, not never, sorry, a couple of times I've changed the hinges, but I always try and avoid it if possible, because I always have lining up troubles after I've changed hinges. So trying to avoid that, I'm going to see if I can use what's already there. It is well out of alignment. It's probably one of the worst out of alignment ones I've ever had, back to front and side to side. So we'll see what it's like once I've bent them back a little bit and we get the new bonnet on, and see if we can adjust it. If not, then I'll have to bite the bullet and get some. C'est la vie if I have to do that. It just might take me a bit more effort to try and get it lined up. So inner wing wise, I think I showed you earlier on that as far as I can see, there's nothing wrong with the inner wing. I don't think it's damaged it at all. Comparing it to the other side, I thought for a minute, because it sort of dips down just there, but it does dip down. The only thing I can see is that is possibly a little bit bent, but that's quite thin metal, so that'll quite bash back. So they are meant to be at an angle slightly, but that sort of that way it's straight, whereas this one is pointing down slightly. So once I get the wing off, I can pop that back up, just get a hammer under there and pop it back up. That'll be fine. And again, I'm going over things I've already shown you, but this is slightly bent, but again, that's easy enough. It's only just touched it. It's hardly anything. I think it's probably just from where this has hit. But once this is all unhooked and unbolted and off, it'll give me the opportunity to either get a pair of mole grips on it or something. Maybe I'm not going to warm it up because it's too much wiring near it. I suppose I could heat it up a bit with a heat gun, and then probably bash it back with a hammer is probably better. It's literally, I don't know, it's just got to be sort of straight, isn't it, like that? So that's nothing. That's nothing. Got, as I say, got headlights and stuff. The bumper I've got is out in the garden. Let me show you. So this is a bumper that I bought. I don't think this is off of Coop. No, this is one I bought off of eBay. I've had a bit of a clean up with it. These were all hanging off. In fact, that one still is a little bit. It's quite solid, but it's not gone back as good as it should have done. But we'll see what it's like when we get the light in. So I've tiger sealed that and tiger sealed that one back on. That one's fine, but that one's obviously, I should have put it downwards really, so the weight was going the right way. So this is quite a good bumper. It's got a few marks on it. It's got a few stress fractures here and there, nothing much, but it's quite a good one. But that'll clean up. It's got some sticker marks on there and a few scratches. It's not bad. I can't remember what I paid for it now, but it wasn't that much. It was quite cheap. So that's going to be the bumper that I'm going to use on this car. I'll get some new number plates to put on it. I'll see if I can get ones with, now, someone corrected me. Someone was being very pedantic when I mentioned number plates on, I think it was Bluey. And I said about the Union Jack flag rather than the Euro flag. And I was berated and pointed out that it's only a Union Jack when it's flying from a flagpole. Union flag. I don't want to be berated anymore. I will try and get them with the Union flag. Yes, rather we don't want the horrible Euro symbol on there anymore, do we? Since we're out of Europe at long last. So yeah, clean up is needed urgently. Well, urgently, it needs a good clean. One thing I am going to do is this bumper. I have got a bumper that came off of another car, which I can't remember which car it was now, but I was trying to repair it, and there was sort of this piece here was all sort of bit missing, and I tried plastic welding it and what have you, and it was just rubbish. So I thought what I'm going to do is, once I've taken this bumper off, I'm going to cut that piece off, and I'm going to cut that piece off, and then try and cut it in the same place on the other bumper, plastic weld it, fill it, paint it, see if I can make a good bumper out of a piece here. I'll show it to you at some point, but we're going to have a go at that. It may be rubbish. I may not be very good at doing it, but I'm going to try, because I've got a bumper out there at the back which is not brilliant, and as I say, I've had a try to see if I can make something of it, and it's too rough. But I thought if I can cut the bit out and plastic weld it, fill it, paint it, I might be able to make a decent, half decent bumper out of it, because the rest of the bumper is pretty clean. It's just that bit down there. And I thought, you know, when I get myself a bumper that's okay there, obviously I can't plastic weld bits in there, of course, although I'm sure some people have done so. But it being right down the bottom like that as well, right around where the toe cover is, I thought it'd be easier to do that. So we'll have a go at that at some point. So that's it for the time being. So I'm going to give it a clean now, and then we'll come back. The battery's still in repair. Oh, it's not in repair mode anymore. It's finished its repair mode. So what is it actually doing then? I think it's just power. So I think we need to actually change the mode on this. 12 volt. So that's probably finished repairing now. So it's not an AGM battery, so it's just an ordinary 12 volt. It's not an AGM or a lithium. So we put it on there. As you can see there, it's just started to charge. So it's done its repair, and it's now charging. So I'll come back in the morning, and hopefully that'll be up the top. Oh, it's going up already, look. Hopefully by the morning it'll be up there in green. And this battery can then go back in the car, and we can, hopefully it's repaired. That's good. So yeah, going to shut the bonnet clean, shut the bonnet down, and give it a good squirt with the jet wash. We'll go over it with a bucket and sponge, and we'll be back probably tomorrow to, maybe tomorrow, whenever it is, to start stripping it down. The idea is, if I can strip it down and get everything on it in the same day, that's what I want to do. And then when the steering rack bit comes next week, maybe next weekend, I can get that done, and then we can get it driving. So hopefully it won't take too long. The following week I'll get the windscreen done. I'll book that in for the following week. So yeah, so I'm pleased with that so far. It's good. All clean now. It's amazing what a jet wash and bucket and sponge over it can do. I'm not bothered leathering it off, that'll come later. But the wheel's clean. The wheels that are off the car, I've cleaned those on the outside and the inside. I've not put any acid or anything on them for the time being. I'll do that later, but they've just had a jet wash, and I've jet washed them the best I can. On the inside as well, they're still quite mucky, but that's nothing compared to what they were like. But they will get spruced up before they go back on the car, and then we'll take the rear ones off and do the same. So yeah, I mean, obviously I've not bothered cleaning the bonnet or the bumper. That would be pointless. But if you look at the side of it, yeah, let's just get out of shot the duff bits. As you can see, it looks nice. So apart from the obvious, in the accident, it's actually in really good condition. I haven't looked underneath yet, and I'm not going to go crawling on the floor now because it's all soaking wet where I've washed it. But yeah, it's actually in really good nick considering it's a 10-year-old car. Well, you could say 11-year-old car. It's a 2010, and it's now 2021. So in theory, it's an 11-year-old car. But yeah, very good nick. I'm surprised. Obviously, as we've said before, those are a bit on the rusty side. But we'll clean those up. I'm going to do that in a minute actually, and see how they come up with a brush. But yeah, pleased with it so far. Hopefully when we get to taking all the front off, we won't have too much grief. We like a grief-free repair. We don't get that many of them. There's always something that pops up and surprises you, but bit like the steering rack, of course, on this one. But yeah, no, pleased with it so far. Be back tomorrow. I did say that earlier, but while we've still got daylight and the sun's actually out now, where it was raining earlier when the car arrived, it's actually a half decent day now, although it's getting colder and colder. So yeah, be back soon. So today is Friday, but for you it was just a few seconds ago. For me it was a week ago. The car was delivered last Friday and it's Friday today. I've not touched it since. So as you can see here, it looks exactly the same here as you just saw in a few seconds ago. I've been at work all this week. I took a half day today, so I've come home Friday afternoon to make a start on this. There is a reason for that, and I will go into the reason for that in another video, which you will be quite surprised about, I think. But I want to get this car done. So a few bits and pieces have come. I've got the number plates. They've come. I've also got some lock thread. I've never had any of that before, so I thought I'd buy some of that because that needs to go on the track rod, inner track rod end. I've also got the tool here that I bought on Amazon to get the track rod end out. It's an adjustable tool. It was recommended that I used rather than trying to get a spanner on it. So I've got that. That's come. Only problem is the inner and the outer track rod end have not arrived. I bought them at the same time. I bought all this stuff a week ago. And they've not arrived, and according to eBay they're not due to arrive till Monday or Tuesday next week, which is a nuisance. It took, I think, 5 days, was it 4 days, from me paying until the seller actually dispatched them, which is really annoying. But you know, hey ho, I've got all this to do, but I wanted to try and get it back down on its wheels and moved. But obviously I can't do that until that track rod end comes and I can get on with it. So we are now going to do this basically. So I'm going to get the bonnet off, get the bumper. I won't take the bonnet off for the time being, but I'm going to get the bumper off, get that wing off, arch liner, wing off, inspect it underneath a bit more, and hopefully we can get the new wing on, get the bumper temporarily on. Inspect that front panel, make sure it's not damaged, which I don't think it is, but we won't really know until we've fitted everything back in. I've got down here, I've got a set of headlights which has been delivered. Obviously that's a set, I don't need two, I only need one, and I will probably use a broken one that I'm going to repair, because you know, this is a template car. I don't really want to be building brand new well, it's not brand new, they're second hand, but I could put a repaired headlight on. Again, you know, we're on a budget. I want to try and sell this car as cheap as possible, but still make a relatively decent profit out of it. And I don't really need the expense of, I can't remember what I paid for those now. I think I paid £40 plus postage for each one. So it was about 80 something, getting on for 90 quid for the two. I can't remember exactly. But you know, let's say £45 a light. I've got lights with broken tabs, which I've bought a tab repair kit for 10 quid. So on this car I'll be getting a refurbed headlight rather than a really good one. So we'll try and get that done as well today. We'll get that headlight repaired and get that in, get it all fitted up, see if it all fits together nicely, and hopefully it will. I've got a new arch liner, as that one's all split, and then hopefully we'll get it back into some form of decent shape by the end of this afternoon. It's a nice sunny afternoon. It's not too cold today. It's about 9-10 degrees, something like that. So it's quite a relatively nice day. So I'm going to put you on time lapse while we get all these bits and pieces off. So we'll see you back. You can listen to the beautiful soothing music, and then we'll see you back once we've got those off. I don't know if you could tell by that, but that was a job and a half getting that off. This obviously this car is 10 years old. It's quite clear that none of these screws or bolts have ever been taken out. Quite clear. That was a real job and a half to get those out. Even to get the bumper out of here without breaking those. I haven't broken them, thankfully. But yeah, that was a job and a half. It's all surface rust, but it was all quite rusty under here, so I'm going to clean it up. I did a bit of it before, didn't I, with a wire brush? But I'm going to get a drill on it with a wire brush on it and do it properly. And all these bits under here, I'm going to clean those up as well, because it is quite, again, as I say, it is surface rust, but it's quite bad. So that's off. So obviously all the good bits on here we can take off and put it on the new bumper. And yeah, whatever we need to put on the new bumper. I think we need the lights. I think we need the light, and obviously the light the other side. I don't think the new bumper, I can't think what I've done with it now. Oh yeah, it's out in the garden. Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to get the wing off now. I'll put you back on time lapse. Right, that was relatively easy to get that off. I don't know if you saw there, but it was quite easy getting these bolts out for once. There was hardly anything around them. In fact, the one here had no sealant around it at all. So that was definitely a replacement wing at some point, because it had no extra new sealant around it. So it is now no more. So inner wing is fine. The end of the inner wing, this part here, is bent. Now I will be able to bend that back fine. I just need to check with some pictures I've got of good ones and see that to what degree, because I don't think it comes straight. It is at a slight angle, and I think probably the best way is, one, to look at photographs, and two is to I'm just thinking, have I got one of these? No, I haven't. Not that I'd take this one off and put a new one on, but just to see what angle it is. And I think the best way of being able to see exactly what angle, it's probably, whereas at the moment it's like that, it's not like that, but it's probably like that. And I just need to have a look and see as to what angle it is. But the best way I think I can do that is by putting the new bracket on there, or whacking that bit straight first with a hammer, putting the new bracket on, and then offering up the new wing, and then we can see the holes obviously should line up, and if they don't, it just needs adjusting. So that's going to take some time, I think, to probably get that back to where it should be. Again, I'm still not sure about down here or not, and I'm not going to take that front panel off until I've at least tried to straighten this up, which should be relatively easy. Straighten this up, straighten that up, got a wing on, got the headlight in, and offer the bumper up and see how it goes. If it doesn't fit, then it will probably mean that this is damaged and I just can't see the damage. So I'll do that. I won't do any of that on camera because that's just going to take too long, but we'll do what we can. As you can see, the bars are completely untouched, so it has literally hit here. So again, I don't think, I know someone commented that they thought that was suede. I'm not sure, I'm not 100% certain that it hasn't. I don't think it has, but again, that will all tally up as to when I do the fit of everything. It's not a problem at all. If I have to take the front panel off and straighten that, then that's what I'll do. If it is bent, I can't see that it's bent. If it is bent, it ain't very much. And all I can do, what I can do is I can offer up a new top bar, bolt it in position and see how far out the holes are. Heat it up, bash it with my adjustable spanner just there, and and then refit until such time as it's lined up, if that's what it comes to. I don't think it will, and I'm going to try it without doing that, and we'll see how we go. So this sensor that's all broken here is, I believe, oh, it's actually the brake sensor. It's not the ABS sensor, although the ABS sensor might also be broken as well. Not sure, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm going to do that now, actually, because that brake sensor is probably easier to change now before I put anything else on it. So I'm going to give this a bit of a bash, see if we can straighten it up a bit, and then we'll do the brake sensor. But we'll come back. I'm not going to film it all. It's pointless trying to film literally everything. So even on time lapse, it's you know, can't really see very much. So I'm going to do that, and then we will come back. Wish me luck. So I'm getting there. It's probably about 20 minutes, half hours past since I recorded that last bit. So I've got this wing on. It's all sort of pretty much nicely lined up there. So I suspended it from this one and from this one, and that's sort of in the right place. But it needs to move in. I've got a headlight, and I've put a headlight in position. And if I slot the headlight into the slot there to do it up, then it's too far over here. It's about sort of over here instead of over here, and the same goes for down there. So I think what I've done is, where I've manipulated, I'll use that word, manipulated that to pull it out where it was out. I think I've probably pulled it out too far. From memory, bearing in mind I've done quite a lot of these, from memory, that is slightly inwards, and I've sort of done it straight, and this bracket that bolts on, which is a new one that I've put on, obviously, is sort of slightly at an angle that way. So I think that whole thing, this and that, needs to just sort of come inwards a little bit, and by doing that it should be at the right angle. Of course, the tester is when I put the bumper on, because if that's not at the right angle, the bumper won't go on. So it's probably going to be an on and off, on and off, on and off until I get it right. I haven't got a bracket on this wing either, and this wing isn't actually very good. I don't know, it feels really rough. I think I might have done a bit of painting on this. I think, but very amateur, a bit of painting. So it doesn't necessarily need to be the finished wing, although it may polish up okay. If I get some cutting compound on it, it might polish up okay. I'm not sure which car this came off of, because I know when I did the last white car that I needed a passenger wing for, I had to buy a wing because I didn't have one. And I think this may have come off of another car which was a little bit on the ropey side, but for doing this, it's okay. I can always change it again afterwards if need be. I'll get another white wing. That's not a problem. But I think, yeah, it's just gonna take a bit of jiggery pokery and a bit of time getting it right. It's a shame. I mean, what I can do is I can slot the bumper in that end, and then just sort of hold it up that end. Once I'm happy with the position of the headlight, then, because if you bear in mind that if the bumper's like that, if that wing is like that or like that, it ain't going to fit properly. So it's got to be right. And of course, doing it like this at the moment, you can't really tell. The only way I can sort of tell, is by offering up the headlight. If the headlight fits into position, then I'm halfway there, hopefully. So I put the wing on. It was completely wrong. I took the wing off. I then took this bracket off. I did a bit of bending up with in here with a jemmy, with that bar. I've hit it a few times with a hammer. I got it by eye as I thought it was probably right, and put it back, and it wasn't. So it's now, I took it off again, done the same thing again, and it's now much better than it was, but it still needs some manipulation. So I don't want to go damaging the wing by trying to do it with the wing on, so I'm going to just keep doing this. I've straightened that up. Obviously that's nice and straight now. I've straightened that up a bit. That will need a bit more straightening up, and then I'll get some paint on that as well, so I don't want it going rusty or cutting through the wires for that matter. And I've still got to obviously do these wires here, so still got a bit of work to do, but I am getting there slowly but surely. And I'm really hoping that I'm going to be able to still use this and not have to change this. I do think I am going to. I think it's going to be okay. But yeah, time will tell. So again, I'm not going to keep filming it. It's pointless me keep filming me manipulating it. We'll just come back and bits and pieces, you know, when we're happy with it really, or losing my rag with it, or one, whichever comes first. Anyway, we'll see you back soon. So I'm sort of getting there. I was very close, and then I took the wing off again and had a bit more of a bash and what have you, and I seem to have got a bit further away. But what I believe may have happened is, I think the person that said that the chassis leg might be swayed a little bit, I think might be actually be right. And because of that, it's putting out, obviously we knew this bit was bent, and I've tried to bend it back, and it looks sort of okay. However, it's not right, and it's not fitting very well. I've got this bit all fitting, I've got that in there, it fits all nicely round there, and I've even got that one in. But this headlight in particular has got no tab at the top. When I use that one, which has, it's too far over. So I think everything here needs to come over a little smidgen. So I think what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to take this front panel off, and then I'm going to put not this bar, but a new bar that I've got, measure it and see how far out, if it is out. Because I mean, I don't know that that's perfect. It may not be perfect. It's as perfect as I can get it at the moment. And the headlight sort of fits in this side. I mean, it could be this that's out. I don't know at the moment. It's difficult to tell. I'm gonna try fitting the bumper on in a minute, even though that hasn't got a bracket on there. I can sort of put it in that side and then just sort of hold it up and see if it goes in. You know, see if it sort of sits in the right position. Which of course it probably won't do, having said that, with the if the front panel is out, because if that has, although it doesn't really show on that front panel, if that front panel has been pushed over a little bit, it may well have also been pushed up a little bit, in which case, I mean, we know it's been pushed up at the edges because we can see that one's flat, that one's now up in the air. I haven't touched that one yet, but that one I've sort of flattened down, and they do go up in the air a little bit. So maybe I should just change it. I think I will. And obviously once I get it off, I can measure properly on that chassis leg, and it might give me more of an idea when I can see the chassis leg sort of straight on rather than from the side. But I'm beginning to think that maybe it is very, very, very slightly over. It's not going to be very much, and a heat up and whack with my adjustable spanner will do it, no problem at all. But of course, you know, if the front panel's not straight, then nothing else is ever going to be straight as well. So yeah, I think we'll attack it tomorrow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put the bumper on as best I can, hold it in position and see, and just for my own peace of mind, to make sure, I'm just trying to make sure that wing is in the correct position. I mean, it still needs a bit of adjustment, and I may even get another wing, I don't know yet, as I mentioned a bit earlier, I think. So yeah, that's where we are. So it was worth spending a couple of hours this afternoon on this, you know, coming home from work early and getting on it. I just want to get on with it. But while I've still got a little bit of daylight left, it's 5 o'clock now, I think, or thereabouts. While I've still got a bit of daylight left, I think I'm going to try and get this wiring repaired, because while all the front's off, it's obviously a lot easier to get that wiring repaired if I can. So whatever it is with the ABS sensor and the sensor for the brake pads, yeah, that needs to be repaired as well. So I'll get that done now anyway. But first things first, I'm going to get that bumper. I won't be able to film it really. Yeah, I'm not going to bother filming it. So yeah, we'll be back in a bit. So what I've done is I've put the bumper in this side, which is obviously fine. I've not got any bolts in it whatsoever. But if you look here, the bolt holes are sort of here, where they should be here. See that one there? You can just see the edge of it there. So that shows me that this front panel has moved over. And by that front panel moving over would create this concertina effect and the bend just here. So although I'm thinking it's only just these corners that are bent, and I've bent them back, I mean, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit at all, you can see there. Now it could be something to do with the partly where this is not straight, which obviously I'll have to address. But if it's sitting too high here, then that will obviously push all that out as well. So if that's high there, that will be high there, and then it would be low there, if that makes sense. So these are all these front damage. When you get these front damage and you get a corner damage, you're better off with a front damage, to be perfectly honest, especially if it's the first one you've ever done. So a front damage low down will probably take out the bottom bar, might take out your radiator and your condenser. A front damage in the middle at the top will take out again your radiator and your condenser. Will also take out your top bar. All of those front damage will take out your front panel without a doubt. They always do. Sometimes you may not, a bit like this one, it doesn't always necessarily show that it's damaged. But when you get to corners, if you've got damaged corners like I've got in this one, which I've had to bash about and bend around and what have you, that's when you start getting problems in those corners. But getting it at the right height is also, if you remember on previous videos, I've shown you getting a jack underneath. When you put a new front panel on, you get a jack underneath and jack it up and line the holes up. If the front panel is too low, if it's up one end, down one end, whatever, you're never going to line those up. And I've learned as I've gone along that, you know, there's little things that you can do like that which will help you. So yeah, I'm sort of glad that those holes don't line up at the top, because that sort of shows me that yes, there is something wrong with this front panel. It's shunted over, it's bent a little bit, it's shunted over, and quite possibly, so whoever you were, and I can't remember your name, you commented and said that you thought that chassis leg had swayed a little bit. I think you're probably right now, having said that. So you did, when I said I didn't think so, you said it must be my eyes. Clearly it probably was mine, not yours, so well spotted. But you know, these things are sent to try us. These things, very rarely are they plain sailing, but we will get there, and hopefully we'll get a better idea tomorrow when we get this front panel off. So I'll drain it down, actually, do we need to drain it down? We probably don't need to drain it down, because the radiator is okay. The radiator is holding water, that's fine. So we don't actually even need to do that. So we'll disconnect the radiator from the front panel, and take the front panel off and put a new one on. New one, I say new one, we got it over there somewhere in the garage, which is the one I bought that I showed you on the first video on this car. And then hopefully that might line up then. I think it's a given that I'm going to have to do a bit of manipulation on that side. I reckon I'm going to have to. The chance, because that was sort of that corner was damaged a little bit, not the inner wing itself, but just that welded on bit on the inner wing, plus the bracket which I've replaced, the bolt-on bracket that was obviously mullered. But because of that, the likelihood of that being exactly right, I think, is quite remote. I mean, you can get away with it a little bit by when you put that corner bolt in. Let me show you. When you put this corner bolt in down here, you can sort of get away with it sometimes by, it just sort of pulls it up. And I know I haven't ever done it myself, but I know what other people have done in the past is if you've got a gap, they've got a jack underneath there, jacked it up, or rather put some compound in there, jacked it up, you know, Tiger Seal or something, jacked it up, left it till the compound's gone off, and then it sticks into position, which is all very well until someone needs to take the front bumper off. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to bodge it. I'll do it. I'll get to it in the end. No, yeah, I will. I'm looking at this now, you know, and that maybe that is sort of twisted that way, maybe, and it's clearly has pushed it over. It clearly has, because those holes don't line up. So at least I found that out. You know, I spent a couple of hours out here. I've got the bumper off. I've got the new wing on, although I may well replace it. And I sort of know what I've got to do, or think I know what I've got to do to get this straight. So, you know, as we know, it's just this corner, so there's nothing else wrong with this car. It just needs a good clean apart from this. Oh, well, we got that down there as well. Of course, that hasn't come, so when that does come, and of course, windscreen, but that'll be the last thing. I'll probably, I'm off a couple of days at the end of next week, Thursday and Friday, so I'll probably try, assuming I get this done tomorrow, sorry. I'll probably get that windscreen booked in to get done the following week. Whether that wing, I mean, it looks all right through the camera. It looks all right actually in person, but it's when you get up close to it, the surface is a bit rough. So I should probably, obviously this gap's too big, it needs adjusting a bit. But I see, the trouble is when you buy second-hand wings, I'm not sure if this is one I bought or whether this is one I had that took off or something. I'm not sure, but the paint is really rough. That would probably polish out, but I think I've had it in the past. You buy these wings, and when they take them off, because they don't cut the seal properly, and they yank it, it gets bent there. And if it does that, then you're never gonna, it may not be visible, but if the behind parts of it are bent like that, then you're never going to get it straight. But for the time being, it'll do. You know, I want to get the front done so it looks okay. If I have to then take it all off again and put another wing on, so be it. Or we could maybe take this off and try and bend it back. I don't know. You know, for what, it's a white car, the white wings. I've got loads of wings in the garage, at the back of the garage here, but they're all driver's wings. It's horrendous the way stuff is stacked up in here. Another bumper here, look. Can't remember what's wrong with this one now. That's where this one's actually even got lights in it. But I've got loads of wings over there. They're scattered all over this place. But yeah, they're all driver's side wings. Oops, I haven't got any passenger wings for some reason. So yeah, I might just buy one tonight and then we can swap it over. But we're getting there. We are getting there, and I'm waffling now, so I'm going to end this video here. So this will be the end of what's this? In effect, it's the second video, but it's actually day 2. Well, it's actually day 1 if you don't count the day it was delivered. But we'll call it day 1, whatever. Yeah, we'll call this day 1. So this is the end of day 1 on Project Marilyn, as we called it, another blonde bombshell. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video and my waffling hasn't got to you too much. And if you are new to the channel, there's plenty of content for you to look back on if you just click back and have a look at the different projects. They're all in playlists, so you can see at a glance what videos we've got. Yeah, and if you would like, share and subscribe to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when we upload new content, click on that notification bell and you'll be notified when we upload new videos. So yeah, so we'll be back on this one in the morning, and it'll be the next video will be up later on in the week, and we'll see you then. So take care and stay safe, and we'll see you then.